Well, hot diddly dang do, Siouxland neighborinos. It is time for another Playbook Pundits Podcast Friday edition. And I am Assistant Sports Editor Shane Lantz. And with me, as always, is Sports Editor Zach James. And we have a busy Friday night of football.
Yeah, we do.
We're going to talk about, 8 games in this
think
podcast?
so. I think every Metro team's playing this week, either at home or away. And then we got 2 really good Siouxland games.
We do.
For you coming up in this week's show. You're covering one of them tonight. But before we get to where you're going to be at tonight, it's not the Metro.
It is not.
For once. Let's start off in the Metro. Let's start off at Edward Olson Stadium as East has their homecoming game tonight against Ankeny Centennial. Ankeny Centennial is coming off a pretty good start to the season, and the all-time winningest coach in Iowa high school football history is in town tonight. Jerry Pizzetti is one of the co-coaches of the Jaguars. His son is the other co-coach. But
we have a fly interrupting.
Yeah, we have a fly interrupting. Live production can't beat it.
You.
The Jaguars come in. And then East comes in off of a loss against SBL. A pretty
tough loss.
That's a good way to describe it. I was going to say I wouldn't describe it as embarrassing, but I would say a tough loss to a really good Warriors team. What do you think the Black Raiders need to do just to get back on the horse tonight?
Well, as always, I think Luke Longbaugh is going to play a big part in this. I mean, obviously, your star senior quarterback, he wants to bounce back from a tough game last week. I mean, 35-7, that's just, it's like you said, it's not embarrassing, but it's a decently lopsided score, and you want to bounce back from that, especially being a Black Raiders team that has had as much success as they've had, even just this year. I mean, they were on the other end of a blowout against North like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So now they've got that experience and they know how it feels. I think this is a big one. They're going to want to bounce back in a big way against
This is
Ankeny.
a big one. And then with facing Waukee Northwest on a short turnaround Thursday night too, that's going to be another tough game. This is kind of I don't want to say make it or break it, but this is a good way for East to get back on the horse because the Wolves are going to come in next week and be a tough matchup too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that short turnaround is always tough for any team. But I think especially at the high school level, I mean, professionals, they can go from Sunday to Thursday, but high school kids, Friday to Thursday, I think, is even tough. I mean, 6 days is not a heck of a lot of time.
And with a weekend off, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Short preparation.
Very short preparation, so they're going to have have a challenge up for them and going to see what they're made of this week.
Speaking of the Wolves, they do face a Metro team tonight in Sioux City West. They host the Wolverines. The first time the two teams are playing each other since Waukee Northwest. It's a brand new school this year. The Wolverines hope to bounce back from a 35-33 loss to Council Bluffs Lincoln in the homecoming. Waukee Northwest likes to run the ball, and I think that's going to be the big key for the Wolverines tonight, especially on the defensive line, but the offensive line is going to be a big factor too. Can the big guys establish their presence like they did against South Sioux, like they did during the winning streak? So I think the big boys up front are the big key tonight for the Wolverines. Yeah,
that's what Coach Holmes said at the very beginning of the year. That's where everything kind of starts and ends for Sioux City West is the big guys up front, offensive, defensive line. And Waukee Northwest had their very first win in program history last week, so it's kind of just to go with your Wolves simile or whatever that is right there. Whatever that word, metaphor, simile. I'm a writer, I don't know.
You should.
I should, but I don't. To go along with that, I think Waukee Northwest, they've got the taste for a win. I mean, they're going to want to bounce back again and get a second win in a row. I mean, now that they've tasted victory, they're going to want to get it again. So I think West, they definitely need to bring their A game tonight.
The game we are covering in the Metro tonight is Sioux Center coming to town to face Sergeant Bluff Luton. Barry Poe will have that game. You'll read his gamer in Sunday's edition of the Journal and online either later tonight or in the morning. SBL is just rolling right now. They needed that win against East because it's a tough part of their schedule too. And Sioux Center comes in with some good offensive numbers too, especially Zach Rosenboom. With 882 total offensive yards, 664 of those coming in the air. I don't think this is going to be an easy game for Sergeant Bluff tonight.
No, I mean they've lost before this year. I mean
Yes,
they know what it feels like. I know they don't want to experience it again. I mean I talked to the Tylers last week after their game. I mean you can read that earlier in the week too. We had Tyler Schenkelberg and Tyler Smith linking up for some big yards last week. So. If they can just keep doing that, I have a lot of faith that SBO can keep on rolling. But yeah, Sioux Center with like you mentioned, Rosaboom, what was it, 800 and something total yards?
882.
882. That's a lot of yards to put up all by yourself. So he's going to be the X factor. Defense needs to lock him down.
Yep, and he may even get to 1,000 yards tonight total. He
might.
probably will.
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
a really good accomplishment. We do have a lot of kids, and I talked a lot about this in Monday's podcast, that there are some statistical leaders around the state, and Jackson D. Wald of Westwood is certainly one of them, but there are some others, and we'll have some kids that'll surpass the 1,000 mark in different categories tonight. Drew Benson of West might be another one of those guys tonight if the Wolverines have a good game.
Yeah, I mean, to get into that number, I mean, we're already halfway
Week
through
5.
the season.
Yep.
This is crazy. I can't believe it's already week 5. But yeah, you're going to start seeing some kids hit that mark, and that's a big mark, especially in the high school level for sure.
Can't believe it's week 5.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy. North travels to Ames tonight to face the Little Cyclones. Ames, we talk about teams getting to the 1,000 mark. Ames is almost there in passing with 942 passing yards. And like I said in today's story, which you can read in today's journal, I think Brock Purdy would be impressed by the Little Cyclones having 942 passing yards. And that's going to be the big key for North, to keep everything in front of you. Small passes won't kill you, but chunk plays will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is anything, but I've always thought of Ames with a team name like the Little Cyclones. I would be very motivated to prove that I am not a little anything. I mean, they're going up against the North Stars too. That's what I like. It's the North Stars versus the Little Cyclones. That's just kind of a fun mascot matchup.
Yeah.
But I know with North, I mean, you have, like we've mentioned, Dayton Harrell. What does he have? Last week he had some big yards, had 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. Last week they beat Heelan 27-10, so they've recovered pretty well from their blowout loss to East a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I'm still looking for Carson Strobing to put up some big numbers. I know he's adjusting. He's had some good games. So that's that's what I'm looking for tonight.
You speak of the Crusaders. They're having their homecoming tonight against MOC Floyd Valley, and they desperately need
Very much so.
a win. They need something positive, and this might be their last shot to win a game this season. I hate saying that. The Heelan community is very good, but this might be the Crusaders' last shot at a win.
Yeah, I mean, you can see what just one win does for a program. Even with Sioux City West, they had 2 wins in a row. They rode pretty high for a little while, and I guess got a little reality dose last week, and gonna want to bounce back. But yeah, Heelan for sure. This is as much of a must win as that program is going to have this season.
Dakota Valley travels to West Central, and they're hoping to turn 1 win into 2. They won last week.
45-12.
Yes. Do you think they can turn it into 2 tonight at West Central?
It's going to be tough. And I mean, I know West Central, they come in with a 3-1 record. They have, this last name I always struggle with. Braden Dierix. I'm so sorry I'm butchering that name, but he has 469 receiving yards this year. He's going to be a tough opponent. That secondary is going to need to be on their A game tonight. So it's not impossible, but I think they could pull it off. It's just going to take a lot, and they're going to have a few things break their way.
And of course, finally, South Sioux's at home too tonight against Omaha Northwest. They're trying to turn 1 win into 2 as well.
Yeah, they beat Bryan last week, 42-25. So yeah, they're both 1-3 in Omaha Northwest. They lost to Bellevue East last week, 22-6. They're actually on a 3-game skid. They're the exact opposite of South Sioux. South Sioux lost its first 3, won last week. Omaha Northwest won their first game, has lost their last 3. So kind of 2 programs going in a little bit of a different direction, but. Yep, either way, it's going to be a big win for whoever gets that one.
Absolutely. Now let's shift over to the Siouxland type side of things. And let's talk about your game tonight. Number 1, Spirit Lake travels to Ida Grove to face number 4, OABCIG, Old Arthur, Battle Creek, Ida Grove.
I can't believe you always know exactly all those towns. I still haven't mastered it.
Well, you will. If you stay here long enough, you will. But the Falcons are coming off a very regular season loss to Southeast Valley. It's a weird feeling that the Falcons have had to experience because they haven't really lost a regular season game in a while, but Spirit Lake comes in really, really hot. As obviously it's the number 1 team in the state. What are you finding out about this game? I know you did a lot of research. You had the preview story in today's paper. What trips your trigger on this game?
Well, I know, just like you mentioned, I mean, with that long winning streak that just ended last week for the Falcons, I mean, I looked up the numbers. Their first loss since October 26, 2018, 28 wins in a row, 1,057 days. I found all the numbers. And yeah, it's definitely, they want to bounce back. I mean, I know the coach he was talking about, his team was very disappointed in this because a lot of the players, or most of the players on that team, hadn't experienced that before, at least at the high school level. So definitely as tough of an opponent as you could ask for coming off of your first loss in a while. But I know Spirit Lake, I mean, they have Riley Reynolds. He has 749 passing
Another
yards
one
right
who
now.
kick it to 1,000 tonight.
Absolutely, he could. And then Braden Thiesfield, 232 yards rushing. The team right now is 5th in total completions in Class 2A, 3rd in total tackles for a loss, and 4th in fumble return yards. So offense, defense, they are tough. Honestly, it's kind of up in the air. I think Spirit Lake probably has the edge in this one right now, but it could come down to a crucial turnover. So I can't even make a prediction. I'm just kind of.
I was going to ask you for one. Dang it!
If I had to lean one way, I would probably guess Spirit Lake will pull this off, but honestly, it could go either way.
I'm going to go with the Falcons. I just can't see OABCIG losing 2 regular season games in a row. This program has a lot of success under Coach Larry Allen, and they'll be at home.
Very
Spirit
true.
Lake has to travel a little ways, so I think that'll factor in a little bit. So I think the Falcons' home field advantage is the big key tonight, and I think the Falcons upset number 1, and hey, they may jump back up to number 1, but like we talked about yesterday, their district is loaded with Esferville, Lincoln Central, and other area teams like Unity Christian's also ranked, West Lyons receiving votes. So Class 2A is going to be a big battle to get to the Unidome here in about a month and a half.
Yeah, and these teams too. It's not talent-wise. This is definitely not leaning one way. I mean,
No.
These teams they're tied in offensive touchdowns this year with 20 apiece. So both quarterbacks able to put up big yards, use that right arm to do big things. So I will make one prediction. I think it's going to come down to the wire, and like we mentioned, I think I'm going to have to rewrite my lead probably 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. Excited to see both these teams for the first time.
You are in Ida Grove tonight. How can people follow you?
They can follow me. You can look for this dog t-shirt if you are there and follow me that way. Or on Twitter, you can follow me at Shane M. Lantz.
Very good. And the other game we're focusing on in the Siouxland tonight is Woodbury Central, ranked 3rd in Class A. It's a rivalry game against Lantz Bronson, a big rivalry game. Woodbury Central 4-0 on the season. Lantz Bronson trying to negate that with the 2-2. They have a 2-2 record, and another 1,000-yard milestone we may see tonight is their rushing game. They have 911 total yards as a team. Does Lantz Bronson, led by Matt Peters, is 337.
Former Siouxland Player of the Week.
Yes. And he may have another big game, but I think Woodbury Central comes out as a winner tonight.
Yeah, they've got so many playmakers. I mean, I wrote down
Carter
several.
Blyle, Dallas Clunder.
Yeah, Max McGill
Max
is another
McGill.
one. Just 3 guys there that can just take the game into their hands and pretty much do whatever they want if they break out. So I kind of predict the same thing. I think Woodbury comes out with this one.
I'm hoping to cover that game tonight, but depending when I get the paper put out tonight, we'll see how things go there. Jesse Brothers will be shooting that game, so look for his photo gallery at SiouxCityJournal.com as he'll have some videos and maybe even a video from that rivalry game in Lawton. For more, check out SiouxCityJournal.com for more high school and college sports content from both of us and Barry Poe. We've got a lot. We're going to have a lot more this weekend as it's a busy weekend, and next weekend's going to be a
next
doozy
Saturday.
as well. Next Saturday's going to be a doozy.
Might just topple us. Who knows?
Who knows? So check us out at SiouxCityJournal.com. If you have a tip you want to tell us about, email us at scjsports@SiouxCityJournal.com.
And please send in your scores and stats after your game.
Yes, please send in your scores and stats tonight, as all 3 of us will be outside the office covering games for Sunday's paper. For Assistant Sports Editor Shane Lantz, Visuals Assistant Editor Jesse Brothers, I'm Sports Editor Zach James. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you on Monday.